Awesome. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for this evening's post-series press conference featuring White Ball head coach Rob Walter. It is fully in person only, so we'll look to take the first question. Stu, I see you've got the mic. Please go ahead.
Cheers. Hi, Rob. What was the most pleasing aspect for you of the way the team performed in those first couple of matches?
A couple of things, I guess. You want your senior players to stand up when they're surrounded by your younger crew that are sort of cutting their teeth in the international space. So we certainly had that in this series, which was awesome. And then obviously from a bowling lineup point of view, a very young bowling lineup with not a lot of caps under the belt to get the job done really, in the first game in particular, and then parts of it in the second game. So really chuffed with those two aspects of the game. And then also just the way we played, the brand of cricket, particularly with the bat. There were a couple of times early on in the power play we were under pressure a little bit, but for Dave to come and bat the way he batted in game one, and then Reza to play the way he batted in the partnership with Rassi, and then obviously the way George finished the game. So to get to 183 in the first game, given we were 20 for 3, I think, so, but continue to play a positive attacking brand of cricket. So, happy with those three things in particular.
Sort of a two-part question. One being, what does this do for the team, do you think? And then for you, you joked about it being your first bilateral. In two parts. So one for the team, and what does it do for you?
I think from a team point of view, obviously, winning breeds confidence. As I say, winning breeds winning. So from our point of view, it was just sticking to the process, trusting the things that we've been working on, trusting the players that we've been giving opportunities to, really trusting that the losses would turn into wins. So from an entire team point of view, I think they'll take heart from that. And also, just to take my hat off to them for continuing to work hard, for continuing to stick with the way that we want to play the game and trusting that it would pay off. And personally, I suppose just the same, just the affirmation of the things that we've been working on and of the players that have been given opportunities to eventually step up and get the job done. Certainly, we played really good cricket in parts and are always areas where we can improve.
Next, Kaniso.
Good evening, Rob, and congratulations on the series win. With George Linde's performance, where does that leave your selection headache with the depth of quality left-arm spin? Bjorn didn't play, Keshav didn't play, and George stepped up with not only ball but the bat too.
Yeah, fortunately it'll be a while before I have to think about that again. So, no, I mean the best thing that can happen for our cricket is that we've got a multitude of players competing for spots. That can only make our cricket better. The strength of your team is the quality of the players that are not picked, actually. So for George to come in and win Player of the Season series is awesome. That doesn't mean that Bjorn is in any different position than he was before the series, and as well as Kesh. So it just gives us different options. George came in to balance the team differently because our seam all-rounders were not part of the series in many ways. So to be able to balance the team differently if we run into the same problems again from an injury point of view, or if we want to play a different balance based on conditions, we're building our options, which is exactly where we want to be.
How important are these bigger picture series where, again, there's always comment about results, needing to get results, but also not forgetting the fact that there are a cluster of ICC tournaments that need to be prepared for individually. And therefore, as we've seen with the ODI squad, it's very different. It's very geared towards the Champions Trophy, whereas the 2026 T20 World Cup is still quite some time away, but it could also step up very quickly.
Yeah, like you always start at the end point and work your way back and understand what are the processes and steps you need to put in place. It's not linear. It never works out just exactly as you planned it. The team's always changing. You get broken toes the day before the series starts. So things have to be fluid. But ultimately, we've got a very strong idea of the parts of our game that we're working on, the way we want to play, and the attributes of the players that we want to fit into the way we want to play. So we just keep building on that. These bilaterals are massively important for that. We keep learning lessons. Our younger guys have learned great lessons against India. We're able to be better against Pakistan. The losses turned into wins. So it's all part of the process to 2026, really.
Speaking of players and attributes, where do the likes of your Rizas and your Rassis fall? There are players who are advancing in terms of age, 34, 34, 35, but clearly still have a very important role to play in the development of not only the T20 squad, but also the 50 over squad.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, performance still wins at the end of the day, and it's great to have experienced players like those guys to pass on their knowledge, but also to show the way, as in deliver the performances themselves, and then to be able to guide the younger guys through international cricket as they, learn and get better. So, when the time comes and when the squads are selected for those major events, we just want to pick our best side and have a host of good players to pick from. And if they keep delivering performances like that, everyone wins.
We're just going to take a couple on the side first, Stu. Thank you. Go ahead.
Coach, congratulations on the series win. You spoke about obviously having a young bowling department and that first game in particular, whereby you had Akwena Mapaka taking out a very big player like Baba Azam for a duck. What conversations do you have with these young players coming into, such a big setup like this?
I mean, with them, it's very similar to everyone. We just want the guys to have clarity from a bowling point of view, just very clear as to what they're trying to do, every ball that they bowl. Making sure there's an experienced head close to them, that the fields look right for the deliveries they want to bowl, and then also just allowing them to express themselves to the best of their abilities. A guy like Kwena, he's got X factor in terms of his pace, so we don't want to put a dampener on that. We want him to do that, and if it doesn't work out, we also have to accept that, given that it's still early days in his career. Same applies with Ngaba. We want these guys to really go out and show the fullness of themselves and what they're capable of. And we know that in the game of T20, some days that doesn't come off, just like it didn't yesterday, for Kwena. But in the first game, he was important for us and took some critical wickets, as you've said. So, as long as the environment can encourage and allow guys to just play their best cricket and represent themselves in the best way possible, then we're heading in the right direction.
Great. Chad and then Stu.
How's Rob? Congrats. I think I remember grilling you after those losses. So congrats on the first bilateral series win. Just reflecting on this particular series, the bowling still seems to be obviously one thorny issue with all the extras and stuff. How do you address this issue, and knowing that a lot of them are still young and can improve, but how do you bridge that gap between your young Kwenas and Ngabas against the rest of the regulars?
Yeah, maybe most importantly, we have to just keep putting them into the battle. A lot of those extras are a result of being under pressure and trying to understand what happens to you personally when you are at the top of your mark and the batter is bossing the show at that point in time, and what do you do with that? And you win some of those battles and others you don't. We're by no means happy with specifically the extras count, but it's not like we don't talk about it. It's not like we're not working on it. Unfortunately, as the bilaterals turn around quickly, back-to-back days, so you're never really in a practice environment where you can practice getting better at it. It's more actually what happens between series. So just providing guys the real clarity when they leave as to where they want to work on, but they're all very clear as to where we want to be better and the things that we can be better at. And it's a process, It's like how many guys start their journey and are perfect? No one. So it's just about just chipping away and improving in these small increments over time, and they'll obviously add up to large wins.
I asked Riza yesterday if his performance was perhaps fueled by being dropped for the ODI series. Was there a conversation with him, regarding him sitting out of the ODI series, or is it just the case of wanting to sort of look to the future as well?
Yeah, obviously, always talk to the players. Spoke to Riza about the selection again. It's like there's only 15 spots and there's only a certain amount of top order batting spots. Unfortunately, Riza missed out in this instance. At the end of the day, his job was to go out there and try and win a game for South Africa in the T20 space, which he did, and achieved his first 100 in T20 cricket. So if he was fueled by not being selected, whatever his motivations were, I'm just happy that he played the way he did, expressed himself the way he did. I know he's capable of what he showed us yesterday at SuperSport Park, because we've seen it there before against West Indies. So just seeing that version of Riza was awesome. And at the end of the day, quality players will rise to the top, and I've got no doubt that that'll happen again.
Stu?
Yeah, just one for me. Just looking ahead to the week you got coming up, with that squad, and I know the Champions Trophy is the big picture. Are you looking at a squad situation, everybody getting a run, or are you very carefully having to plot with along with Shooks, because there's a lot of test players in there and there's not a lot of time between when the next game is here and the prep they have to do for Boxing Day?
Yeah, we just keep the balancing act going, you know. And so, no, those test matches are a massive priority. These ODIs are also a priority, given that they form part of prepping for Champions Trophy, albeit a long way away. And these, obviously, barring the Tri-Series, are the only 50-over games that we've got. But the 50-over squad is fairly settled, to be honest, and it's guys who've played a lot of 50-over cricket for the most part. So it's not like they're learning how to play the game. It's just really just checking back into our blueprint, the way we played at the World Cup, and picking up from where we left off from that point of view. And then, yeah, just managing the 3 games, given the turnaround, given the short turnaround to the test matches, making sure that, that there's a lot of positives that run from the ODIs into the test matches, because very often the ODIs can actually be a nice springboard for the players that move into the test matches as well. So, we want to build on this T20 momentum, take it into the 50-over space. We've got an awesome squad of players together. We want to continue on with the momentum and the winning momentum, and then make sure that feeds into the test matches. And, to have a T20 World Cup final and a World Test Championship final will be a pretty awesome thing for Proteas.
Great. One last one from Chad.
Just on the upcoming series, I know you've spoken at length about the challenges of selection and rotating, but is there a positive to having these back-to-back fixtures in these bilateral series?
You always want to be playing and rather than not playing. So certainly, and against a great opposition. So for us to be doing that is, there's no negative, there's no downside to it. We want to play international cricket now, whether it's with our extended squad or whether it's our best squad. We want to keep playing international cricket. It's the only way we're going to keep getting better. It's the only way we're going to rubber stamp our style of play and continue to build as a unit and as a group of players to a point where we want to get to where 30 players can represent the country and beat the best in the world.
Great. Thank you very much, everyone, and thank you, Rob, for joining us this evening.
Thank you, Lucy, for your invite.